What is time-space? That's an interesting question, and how far does it reach? Well, there's a better word actually that we use for time-space because that's a relatively limited word. The word we use for time-space is, you want to write down this, Linda, because Calder's handwriting is terrible. It's a very simple word. I'm going to ask you to feel into it for a moment. Don't think too much about it, but it's a simple word. Bon, B-O-N. Bon, B-O-N.
One word?
What?
That's one word?
Well, you could also make it two words, be on. Never thought of that before. See how brilliant she is? She perceives it as two words, be on. I know it's bon. Bon, B-O-N, bon, bon, B-O-N. I guess it could be beyond, be on. But it's bon. Bon is probably, bon would be like a hologram, like a fabric, but not a physical fabric, like the hologram that is prevalent everywhere where consciousness goes. It is a way of consciousness of perceiving and experiencing itself. It is a hologram onto which the consciousness is able to see, feel, experience, not see with the eyes, but feel, experience, to know itself. That is the core of everything in all of creation. It's not a substance. It's not measurable by anything in current science. Scientists don't really, they don't even know about it. But to help you to understand, at the core is Bon, and that creates then what your scientists do know a little bit about, plasma. Plasma. Not plasma as in blood, but plasma as in that substance that is the most, you realize plasma is the most prevalent substance of anything in the universe. But very, very little is really discussed or known about it. A dark hole is basically, and this is where Calder gets nervous because he's not a physicist by any means, but a dark hole is basically highly, highly, highly condensed plasma. So from Bon comes plasma. From plasma comes things like the ions, the way neutrons and protons and atoms and everything else works. But Bon is at the very, very core of it. You could say that Bon is the time-space, but it is more than just time-space as that you know as humans, time, space both being linear. Bon is kind of like the stage for consciousness, or the screen for consciousness on which to play. Bon, or time-space, exists in all realms. You have this thing called time-space that is pretty unique to the human journey, but if you go into another dimension, there is a form of time-space. It has to be. But it's Bon. It's not time as in the watch, and space like as in a size. It's simply a parameter, a variable that is there to serve consciousness. See, because consciousness does not create, is not energy. Consciousness is not physical reality. Consciousness chooses to have something core, something which to experience itself. Your greatest experience here on Earth is time-space. That allows you to do everything you're doing, time-space and gravity. So Bon exists everywhere where consciousness journeys and experiences. It changes from dimension to dimension in a way. It's its effect, it's the way it allows consciousness to experience is different, but the basic element is still there. So it could be said, in a way, that a form of time-space exists in all the dimensions, but not necessarily in the same fashion that it exists here. A form of gravity or suction or attraction exists in all dimensions, but in a different flavor than what you have here. But let me go back to the main point. The point of today's gathering is that time and space, Bon, is moving through you. It is serving you. You are not serving time space. It serves you. Question. Would you mind, let's do the microphone so everybody in the universe can hear you. So quick question, and I will entertain questions up to a point because there are a lot of questions. Will be.
So then energy would be nothing more than a perception.
Energy is a perception, but a very, very real. Energy is a form of Bon that is serving you. You could say, and again, here it gets a little tricky, but you could say that Bon is what some would call a unified energy field. But there are some misunderstandings about it. There is the field, the reservoir that's right here and everywhere, of energy potential that is an absolutely neutral state. It has no positive or negative charge to it. It is waiting for consciousness to activate it. It is waiting then to turn into activated energy, positive or negative energy. It is waiting to turn into plasma. It is waiting for the activation ultimately into atoms and molecules and everything else in your reality that is enabled by gravity. Gravity, once again, being time and space. Let me demonstrate one more thing while we're talking. The time-space field, the time-space element, is kind of like a funnel, or for those who know what a venturi is, a venturi dealing with fluid dynamics. Basically, if you have fluid flowing through a vessel, and that vessel then is constricted at a point, and then opens up again at a point. There is a flow of fluid. There is an amount of pressure. There is time and space in here. This is called a venturi. It deals with liquids, but it could be applied to other things. As it flows through here and it becomes constricted, what happens? It speeds up, absolutely. Some smart people here. What else happens to it? Goes faster. Well, it speeds up, goes faster. That would be similar. Close. It goes faster, higher pressure, and greater energization, greater energy potential. You could say caused by the pressure and the speed, but deeper into it, there is more energy within that very same fluid as it goes through the venturi, not because of just the speed and the pressure. It is activated now. It is activated. Time-space works similar to it. In a sense, it's like a funnel. And out here, it's moving at a different rate, and it has a different energy attractant potential out here than it does here. Now, what would this be? This is the now moment. This is the past, and this would be the future. So this is past, now, and future. And that is one of the principles of time-space movement through you. If you are present, if you are conscious of not of time, but conscious of yourself, aware of your awareness, I exist. The flow rate of time-space is different, not necessarily faster, though. As a matter of fact, you're going to begin to understand it actually appears to go slower. It actually doesn't. Everything else goes slower, but the perception is that things slow down. When you're in the now moment, the flow of time, space is more harmonious, it is more compatible, it is more serving to you than when you're hanging out in the past or hanging out in the future. That's the reason, physics reason for being in the now, not just it's nice, airy-fairy, but it has a dramatic effect on you, on you. Let's take a moment and go back to the principle. Where is my ball? Yes, the ball actually did not move. Weird, but it didn't. Time, space moved. And when I throw that ball, when I toss it in the air, time, space is moving and it's creating gravity, a suction that will hold in physical matter, emotional matter, belief matter, and it creates reality. That is beautiful. Just the ability for you as consciousness to have this happen when consciousness doesn't have arms and legs or a brain or eyes, for you to have this happen as a result of your consciousness is truly amazing. Truly amazing. And when you can also learn to step out of mass consciousness time-space into your own time-space, when you can learn that you're no longer dependent on the other drawing, wherever the other drawing, when you're no longer dependent on time, space, God, that you are truly a sovereign being with their own bond, with their own plasma, with their own everything, then you are free. Interesting, interesting, interesting. What I'd like to do at this point now is stop talking about it and start to experience it. So I'm going to footnote this by saying some of you have really been feeling strange the last couple of days and weird dreams. And I believe even before the gathering here, some of the staff was talking about the distortion of time. I believe there was a conversation back over here that isn't time weird the last day or two? Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to find that time and space start to loosen up. It starts to become more flexible, but that's not always a comfortable feeling at first. When your body has been regulated to staying in the old belief of time and space, the old movement of it, when you get out of that, it is going to feel strange. Disorientation, weird brains, and particularly weird dreams. I'm going to tell you one thing about reality. I hope you really let yourself feel into it. It doesn't matter if any of this has ever been done before. It doesn't matter if there are actually angelic councils and a crimson council. It doesn't matter that there's a Saint Germain. It doesn't matter that there's a God. It doesn't matter that you view things as kind of top down and you're kind of at the bottom of the whole trickle-down cycle of creation. It doesn't matter that there's a new earth. It doesn't matter that there is even this thing called spirit. It doesn't matter one bit. Because the moment that you allow the consciousness of it, it becomes so. There might have never been anything called enlightenment, never an enlightened master ever walked the face of this earth. It might have just been totally boring biology. Evolution from pond scum up to this over millions and millions of years. And it wasn't created by energies or God or anything. The funny thing is, it doesn't matter. Because the moment that your consciousness is there, then it is so. Then you've created the God. Then you've created the new. You've created something outside of the old cycle. You've created Saint Germain and Adamus. It doesn't matter if it was never there before. you could be creating it from the bottom up. And it can be being created from the top down. It doesn't really matter. What matters is if your consciousness is there. Then it becomes so. Then universes and dimensions are created. It doesn't matter if time was a constant and energy was just energy. Because the moment you dream something beyond, then it occurs. That's what I love about creation. It works both ways. It's top down and it's bottom up. That's the amazing part. Thank you. So anything else you're worried about?
Nothing major, no.
No? Okay. Just one more. One more thing. Yeah.
Oh, the whole enlightenment business.
The whole enlightenment business. Yes. Yeah. Let's see, I can't think of anything else. Oh, yeah. The world, the universe, God, the whole. Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that little stress in my life. Yeah. So what would be your worry about it?
Oh, am I doing it right? When will I get there? I understand that I am already there.
Let's go right to the core. Does it exist?
Okay.
I'd worry about that. If I were any of you, I'd worry, is it even real? Yeah. I mean, I'd worry big time about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're taking it on faith.
Sure. And what proof do you have?
None.
Absolutely none. But I will tell you one little secret. Even if it's not true, even if it's all a bunch of whitewash, a funny thing happens because of the nature of consciousness that if it didn't exist, consciousness makes it exist, creates it to exist. If I use my green pond scum story, say if there's no God, it was just this weird evolution from green pond scum and it created Earth and humans and everything else, and there is no God, there are no angels. Consciousness, which has to exist, it has to exist for anything else to exist. Mm-hmm. Consciousness is now going to create God and heavens and angels and ascension and enlightenment and the full blossoming of what was just green pond scum into magnificent ascended masters. That's the beauty of it. It's actually not necessarily coming top down. God, angels, humans, animals, green pond scum. It could come up the other way. It's the amazing thing. That's the beauty of consciousness. If everything else is distorted or not true or doesn't exist, the moment consciousness is added, it becomes so. That's the amazing thing. So let's say there is no such thing as enlightenment. You're born and you die, and that's it. Suddenly, the moment that your consciousness says, no, there's more, then there is. That's the amazing thing. And that applies to everything, whether it's this, whether it's your human life, and that's kind of actually what's happening in your human life right now. You're putting consciousness in it, and it's expanding and creating. Whether it was ever there before or not, now it is. The amazing miracle that's happening is, even if there was just, but let's say the old biblical God, and that's all there was, and you die and you go to heaven or hell. Let's say that's all there was. Suddenly it's changing from consciousness. Suddenly it's like, no, I want more. Now there is more. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for letting me carry on. David hardly ever gets to talk. Yes.
I feel that I have trusted other people more than myself.
Good. So let's change that around a little bit. You don't trust yourself. That has nothing to do with other people. Yeah. That could be for her, a very, very good reason. I don't trust myself. There's a huge factor in enlightenment. I'm going to get into it in just a moment, but there's a huge factor about letting go. And it's ingrained in each and every one of you when you really let go. And I mean let go. That the dragons, the demons, and Satan and everybody else are going to be there waiting for you to devour you. It's a fear that's been instilled in every one of you. And there is that. What if I let go and this was all a joke? I'm going to give you my simple answer beyond that. Life is whatever you basically imagine it, choose it to be, with the Kyper. The Kyper, there's this air, physical air, the ethereal air. It creates a fabric, like a material, like a beautiful, glistening material. And you throw your Kyper on that fabric, and it creates your life. Most people don't know that, and they don't do it consciously. They just kind of splatter on that fabric. But there's this beautiful fabric, and with a Kyper, you can create anything you want. It doesn't... Where you're going, where all of us are going, is beyond, into whatever you want. There's this fear that there's going to be some darkness. You just laugh at the darkness. Yeah, it's going to be there. Well, it's going to be yours. You just laugh at it. And then we become whatever we choose to become. And continuing to evolve it, to expand it, to make more of that painting on this air and ether fabric. It's that simple. In other words, none of it matters. It's only what you choose. So, but a part of it's trusting yourself. It goes back to an old thing I'm really tired of now. Oh, I did bad things in a past lifetime and I killed people. I was in war. Yeah, we all did. That's part of the human journey. Get over it. Just get over it. It's not going to happen again to any of you. None of you, just double checking, none of you are going to be murderers or, you're not going to be terrorists or anything like that. So it's not going to happen. Get over it. Okay, one more quick one. We do need to move on.
You already called on?
And Shambhra, yeah. Somebody's already on their email or Facebook or whatever. How can he be so arrogant? You know what? It's an act. And maybe you stop out of acting like such a deadhead. Oh. And I'm not talking to all of them. There's just one person out there. Oh, he's so arrogant. Why don't you stop acting like a bore, okay? You know who you are. It's all an act, you see? And if you act a little pompous, it's better than acting like, oh, I'm a victim. Try it. Act a little, yeah, life has been good to me, so I'm a little better. I don't care. It's just an act. And then, what happens? You act that way. It's like, okay, so I got more money than you, okay? And that's fine by me, not by you. And you start acting that way, and you know what? The energy gets delivered to you that way. It's kind of a weird thing. It's called, where's my book? I need a prop. Active consciousness. Yeah, somebody have, there you go. Yeah. It's the act of consciousness. It's all here. It's actually 150 pages. Interesting to note, about 10 of which are blank. Why do they do that? And it's all an act. You act like you're ready for ascension or enlightenment. Guess what? It's there. It's all an act. Some would argue that acting is not real. Oh, crap, look at you. That is an act, and it's not real, and it's really tiring now. And I'm not talking to all of you online. There's just that one. One that's Adamus. I'm going to write something bad on Facebook. It's all an act. And you can act any way you want. You can act eccentric, and you already do. You can act... any way you want. You can act like you are so together. And even if that human part of you going, oh, you're faking it. I don't care. So are you, stupid human part. You're faking it. I'm going to act like I'm really together, that I'm abundant. I'm going to act like my health is good, that I've got this youthful, vibrant body. It's all an act. And the moment you start believing that, well, you're faking it, the moment you start buying into your act as only a human of limitations, you got a long, long, long way to go. So, act, whatever, and act many, all at the same time. It's all at the same time. It's not singular. You can be many actors on your stage at one time, whatever you feel like.